Hello, my name is Colin Spencer, and today I'm going to be showing you how Democracy 3 works. Now, Democracy 3 is a political simulator slash video game that puts you in the seat of a head of state, and you have to run a country by passing policies, edicts, and laws. The game is all-encompassing, which means it touches on a number of political issues that are relevant to contemporary politics, which is why I decided to use the game for a grade 9 social studies context, or probably more grade 12, or current issues, a global issues class, or specifically an actual law class. Students are going to be presented with a number of issues concerning governments and spectrums and laws of our day, and what this game gets students to experience is the actual process of democratic governance, in that what you do as a leader affects more than what you might think. Simply raising taxes might sound great and easy to do, but it has vast repercussions for everything in our political system. And what this game gets students to understand and experience is how the entire system is all kind of interconnected. So what I would task students with doing first is to set up a new game. And I would obviously, before using this game, I'd walk students through the entire process and explain more as they go. But just to show you how the game works, we start out by hitting new game. We would choose one of the countries. In this case, we'll probably go for Canada, but you can play other countries. Just a side note, there are mods and things that can add other countries to the game, so you're not essentially stuck with just these few varieties. And the base game doesn't vary too much between the actual different countries, but it is a different experience. And if a teacher wanted, students could play different countries and compare and contrast their experiences. Why was it easier to balance or play a country like Russia opposed to Canada? What might contribute to that? But in this case, we're going to go with Canada. It'll give us some relevant information. Some of the stats, especially with population, might be a little dated, but it's still relevant enough to give you the experience that you are playing as Canada. And we'll hit play. We can choose our party's name. So for example, we could choose the Teacher and Tech Party, or we could choose a name from the list. And then we have our opposition party, which it'll auto-generate, but we could choose a different one if we so wish. I don't know, the Liberal Party or the Republicans. Term length of 5. Term limit is no. You don't really need to change any of these. The only thing I would change is difficulty down to 50. The game can be a little challenging. Running a country isn't easy, even with the best of minds at your side. So I don't want students to become discouraged by the game's difficulty. And yeah, so then we would play. This is the main screen that we are going to be thrusted onto, and it basically gives us an overview as if we were just elected into office. We have 6 big modifiers that we will be working towards solving as we are running. We have 5 years to do so. So it's a pretty long election cycle. That can be changed, but anyways, the gist of it is that green is good, yellow is meh, and red is bad as a modifier. And let's begin our term. So this is the main screen of the game. This is what players and students are going to be looking at for the majority of their game. And it looks completely overwhelming at first sight. But with proper structure and understanding, and the teacher running through, and students having time to play around with the mechanics, it's really easy to pick up. And the game does a great job of showing you exactly how everything links together. What I like to kind of describe as this is a giant spider web. Every issue and everything is kind of linked together. For an example, if we looked at inheritance tax, right, or income tax, this game tells us exactly how it's going to affect everything. The red arrows mean that people don't like that, right? That's a negative modifier. The green arrows are good. So income tax promotes equality. And if we trace that up, equality affects a number of things across your nation, right? Good and bad. Or if we did something like, I don't know, petrol subsidies, right? The environmentalists like a petrol tax. Bicyclists, bicycle usage would go up as a result. Car usage would go down, but our GDP would also go down. Right? So the game does a great job of showing you where everything goes. And what students can do is they can modify these. So right now I have 27 political points. These are kind of our actions that we have per turn. And this is what we can play around with. This is our income as a country, where you can see exactly what defines that. This is our expenditure as a country, and we can see exactly what defines that. The more laws and the more subsidies you do, which people like, the more expenditures you're going to have. And you're going to have to find a way to balance that as a leader. Deficit and debt, pretty self-explanatory. So for an example, if we were looking at petrol tax, right, as we had discussed, we click on that, and we can actually adjust this actual tax. Now we don't have enough points because we need 36, and we only have 27. So we might have to wait one turn and let this build up another 27 before passing this. But what we can do is we can lower it. So right now, if we were to hike it, which we can't, different modifiers, the modifiers that we saw earlier, would be heightened or lowered, right? So GDP would go down 11%, which would probably not be good for a country, but we would gain an additional $18 billion in spending every year. And right now we're running a $4 billion deficit. So that would solve our money issue. And the environmentalists would be super happy, right? So that's kind of the base of the game. That's really what you're doing. You're essentially passing laws and modifying these different laws on the board to run a country. Now, to be fair, Democracy 3 is not a game that's going to be an incredibly visual stimulating game, right? You're not going to look at this game and go, oh my god, look at these beautiful visuals. You're not going to get sucked into the environment of the game because it's politics. You can't do that. But what this game does do is give you the complete freedom as an individual to experience our political system. You have the freedom to take a country and run in any direction you want. Play with any of our current issues in society. And it gives you the freedom to experience the political system in its whole. Many people, I think many students today, have a hard time grasping just the scope of politics in general. They might think, oh, if we just spend more money on road building, everything's going to be solved. You can see that is going to have a number of different modifiers. Right? Road building sounds great. It's also super expensive. Right? And it also leads to more car usage. Right? And that causes less subway usage. And it causes, it promotes higher equality. And it hurts the environmentalists. And it causes asthma. And it promotes GDP, but the poor suffer because they can't afford cars. And the middle classes suffer. So it has this entire spider web is what the game does a great job in showing. And what it gets people to do is that it gives students the experience of the country. This isn't where their learning is going to happen, right? But it gets people to experience the overall concept of Canada's political system. So that's kind of the idea behind Democracy 3, and that was kind of my rationale for using it. It's never going to be one of those games that's incredibly immersive, but it is a game that's fun because you have the complete freedom to do what you want. So I hope that gives you a little bit of an insight into why I used it and what the game's all about. It's a great learning tool, and thank you for listening.